Okay. So I think we built this app, and then we created the objects, we established the relationships. Hopefully, everybody is now what you call aware of uh, the lookup relationship, master detail relationship. So we will continue. I mean, the differences between lookup and master, as and when the time comes, I'll try to highlight some of the points because those are widespread. Like when it comes to record level sharing, I'll tell you some points. But for now, just remember that in master detail, in like uh, if you want to create a child object record, okay, if you want to create a child object record in a master detail relationship, you see, the parent is always required. Okay, by default, if you are establishing a master detail relationship, the parent is always required. I think we spoke about this before. The affinity is stronger. That means a child object record cannot exist without being associated with a parent. Okay, whereas in lookup relationship, I think I gave an example of account and contact, where both objects can exist independently. Like a contact can exist even without a relationship to an account. But whereas here a session speaker record cannot exist without being linking to either session or without being linking to either speaker. It has to be linked to a session and it has to be linked to a speaker. There is no other way around it. So that's why in master detail relationship, the child object record cannot exist without the parent record, whereas in lookup relationship, child and parent can exist independently. The other thing is in master detail, when you delete the parent record, the child object records get deleted automatically. And I think we spoke about this point yesterday. There is an owner field. So like we have an owner field here. So this owner field determines, the owner field of the parent record determines the ownership of the child record too in master detail relationship. Whereas in lookup relationship, both parent and child object will have their own owner field, and hence the ownership can be maintained independently. Okay, so those are some of the differences so far. We'll keep continuing. We'll keep continuing to learn some more differences when as and when the time comes. Okay, now I just want to talk about few things called cross-object formulas. Okay, so what is meant by cross-object formula? For example, let's take an example here. I'm creating let's say, let me create a tab for one of the core session record as well. Let me create a tab for the junction object record. The session speaker object, I'll just create a tab. I mean, this tab, I'm just creating this tab so it helps our understanding better. Okay, good. Session speaker is added. So all set. Okay, so this session speaker, let me click on. I'm just, modifying the list. Just like yesterday, I asked Deepti to do this. Now I'm just doing the same thing. Okay, I'll just say So just to let you know, just to indicate this junction object, what this means. So here, the session speaker is a junction object, which is indicating, okay, this session test from workbench 2 is being like, this person, Rajesh, is the speaker for this. So similarly, we can create it. This is exactly like course registration, in the example that we spoke about. These are two master objects, and then using this junction object, we were able to establish many-to-many relationship here. All I did is I just created a tab and created a list view so that we can see all the records at one place. Okay. Now, what is a formula field? So the formula field, if you look at a session, okay, I'm just going to open in a new tab. I'm right-clicking here and click on Open a new tab. So you see, we have schedule time and end time. So when we automatically populate the schedule time and end time, we have noticed that schedule time cannot be greater than. So when did I have this? Okay. I'll just put it on 18. Okay. So you see, we have schedule time and end time, and automatically the duration in minutes is calculated. This is using a formula field. So we were able to calculate, and I think we noticed how to write the formula, and this is a it's a calculated field which is read only. It cannot be modified, and the value depends on the difference between end time and the fields that are being referenced here. So this is a formula field that we have. Okay. Now, what is mean by this is a formula field, but within the same object. So the fields called schedule time and end time are present in the same object, and hence you are creating the formula. Just in the same way, you can also create cross-object formulas. Okay. So what is mean by cross-object formula? Let me just go to this record here. Okay. So the session name is test from workbench 2, right? Like for here, like this is a junction object record. It has two parents. One is test from workbench 2, and another one is the speaker record. So now I want to see, okay? I want to see the agenda of this session here. Like let's say I want to see the, I just want to see the agenda of this session right here. Okay. Sorry. On this child object, so we have a session here, but right now it is only showing just the test from workbench 2, and this is, the speaker is this person. But I just want to know, Lucky, what is the agenda of this session? Okay. So if I want to know the agenda of this session, I can write a cross-object formula. So what is meant by cross-object formula? From the child object, I'll be able to grab the value from the parent and print it here. Okay, I'll just show you an example, so then we'll be able to understand it. So I click Setup. I go to Object Manager. I'll go to Session Speaker Object. Okay, go to Fields and Relationship. So now what I want to do, I want to get the agenda of the session. You see, on the session speaker object, we have master detail to session, and we also have master detail to speaker. Now, my goal is I want to write a formula field on the child object, which is nothing but the session speaker object, to grab and print some details from session, which is the session agenda. Okay, so I'll just click New. Okay, I'll choose formula like we always choose, which is a formula field. And then I'll just say session agenda as the formula field. It's going to be a text, okay, because, the agenda is text, it's going to be a text. And then, you see, this is the formula logic. I want to print a value from cross object, right? So all I do is insert field. And you see here, there is a session, because session and speaker are relationship fields, right? This is a relationship field. Using this relationship field, we will be able to travel to the parent object. So I'll just click on session object here. Where is the agenda? is agenda a long text area field? Because if it is long text, sorry, let me check. Let me check the agenda field once. Maybe I took a bad example because the long text area fields cannot be used. Oh, yes. Oh, okay. This is a long text area field. I'll just use, okay, instead of agenda, I will just maybe print the start time. Okay, I'll just print the scheduled start time. It doesn't matter. We're just trying to understand the. So I'll just say date time. I'll just say session start time. Because agenda is a long text area field, we will not be able to refer it in the formula. So that's why I'm just using the session start time field. Next. So notice one thing here. You see, we are using _r, session _r dot schedule time. Okay. I just want to see, I just want to show you something here. Let's go to look at the session speaker object. Okay. On the session speaker object, we have a field called session with the API name as session _c. And now look at here. What we are trying to do is we are trying to travel through using this relationship field called session. We are trying to travel through this relationship field and access the object, access the session object. Okay. Here you see by using R notation, like usually the object name will be session _c dot schedule time. Okay. But in formulas, we'll just say R. R stands for relationship. Okay, here. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to travel from session. Sorry. We're trying to travel from session and grab the value of the schedule time and print it. So that's why the notation is session _r dot schedule time. Okay. So what does this indicate? This is the cross object formula. Even though we are writing the formula on the core session object, we are trying to grab the value from the parent record. Okay, we are trying to grab the value from the parent record and trying to print it. So I'll just say next. Save. Okay, so now if I go here and refresh, you see, I mean, session start time is coming as empty. Let's see if this has a start time. So yeah, this doesn't have a start time. Let me put the start time for this. Okay. So now I'll go here. You see, so this is a formula field. Whatever the start time that we have here, whatever the start time that we have at test from workbench 2, we are able to print it here. Okay. So what we have done so from child object, from the child object, we traveled to the parent object and obtained the value and printed it here. So the formula field, cross object formula is nothing but we will be able to travel from the child record onto the parent. Okay. So you are creating the field onto the child. Okay. Session speaker is the child object of a session. So we are creating the field on the child object, but we are traveling using _r notation. We are traveling to the parent and grabbing the value from the parent. We can go four or five levels deep like that. Like we can use session _r dot. If session has another parent record, so, using that parent, like we can go from child to parent to grandparent to great grandparent. So we can use _r notation to be able to go like I think 4 levels or 5 levels upwards. Okay. So what is the difference between a formula field and a cross object formula? I mean, the logic is same, formula is nothing but just like the difference. We calculated the difference in minutes, the duration between start time and end time. So we calculated that difference on the session object. The duration in minutes was what is the end time minus start time. We multiplied by 60 into 24 just to convert it into minutes, and it was calculated. Now, what is the difference? The logic is same. It's just that because we have object relationships, okay? Because there is an object relationship between session speaker and session, we were able to travel from the session speaker object. We are able to travel from session speaker onto the session and obtain the value of session start time. Okay, so that's the cross object formula. So we are using the cross object formula to be able to do that. Okay. Here there is one important thing to understand. In formula logic, there is one most important concept that needs to be understood. So of course we are using the double underscore R notation and everything. The reason why double underscore R notation is important is even when we write queries, when we are writing the programming, when we write queries, even then we would be using this double underscore R notation a lot to access values from different objects. Okay, I just want you guys to answer one question. Now, can I write a formula field on the session and obtain a value from the child object? Okay, let's take an example. In order to avoid a bit more confusion, I'll just go to sales app once. See, we have employee and we have employee salary. Okay, we have employee and we have multiple. Every employee has multiple employee salaries. Okay, so employee is the parent object, employee salaries are the child object. Okay, or we can take an example like this. So we have account. Okay, we have account as the parent, and of course we have multiple child records in the form of contacts. So account and contact is a very good example of a lookup relationship where account is the parent and contact is the child. Okay. Now, on the contact record, like I'm looking at a contact record. On the contact record, I want to populate the website of the account. Can I do that? So on the contact record, I want to create a field called accounts website and populate the account website field. Can I do that? You see, I want to populate enterprise.com on the contact. Can I do that?
Are you creating a new one or populating it?
No, I mean, I just, I got a user requirement. Okay. The requirement is very straightforward. Here is what the user says. The user is saying, hey, when I'm looking at a contact, I need a field that should show the account's website.
I think, yeah.
So how would you do that? Like if that is the requirement, if the requirement comes to your way that, hey, when I'm looking at a contact record, in order to make my life easy, I need to look at the account website as well. So that's the requirement given by a user. So what would we do?
Create a new field.
Can we write a cross-object formula field? Like on contact object, we can create a formula field, right? On contact object, we can create a formula field and we can travel to account and get the account website, right? Guys, is that so? Do you guys understand what a cross object like? Can I just ask one question? Did you guys understand what parent-child relationship is?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So in account and contact, what is the parent and what is the child?
Account is the parent and a contact is the child.
So why do we call it like that? Like
Because
how can we say that account?
one account, I mean, one person have multiple contacts, right? He have multiple businesses.
Okay, so one, I think you're using the words a little bit wrong usage there, but one business, which is nothing but one account, can have multiple contacts associated with them. So account is the parent and contact is the child. Okay. Now my requirement is when I am looking at a contact record, I need to, like when I'm looking at a contact reader, I need a field on the contact that should display the account's website. Is it possible or not?
No.
Okay, I'll ask the question the other way. Can I write a formula? Can I create a formula field on the child object and be able to grab the value from a parent record?
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm gonna ask the question this way. So can I write a formula field on the contact and grab the value from the account?
Account is the child, right?
Account is the parent, right? Account is the parent and
Okay, okay.
so here, I just want to understand. So when you look at the account screen, right, we are clearly seeing, hey, this is the account and there are two contacts associated with it. And we are also seeing a new button. That means under each account, we can create numerous amounts of contacts, right? Like account is a company business and there are numerous amount of contacts that we can create. So one account can have multiple contacts and somebody just told me that account is the parent and contact is a child. Great. Okay. Okay. Let me tell me this. Tell me just this. Okay. I um okay. I want a field. So I want a field where I need to calculate the age of this contact. You know, on the contact we have a birth date field, right? So let's say birth date is 1990. So I have a requirement to calculate the age of this contact. What would I do? Like somebody asks, hey, give me a field on the contact that calculates the age of the contact. So what should I do now?
Put a formula in another field where it does the calculation of the age.
Okay, okay, that's good. So I will be creating a formula field here, which I will name it as like on the contact object. I'll even want to show you that. So I'll go to the contact object. Okay, go to fields and relationship on the contact object. Click new. Click formula. Next, and I'll name it as age. Okay, and then the age would be a number, decimal 0 places. Then I go right. I'll just say today minus, today's
Yeah, today minus the date of birth.
birth date. Yeah. So today minus birth date and just save. Okay. So now I created an age formula field. So if I refresh this,
Oh.
I mean, I know it is coming in, what you call, I think it's coming in hours or something like that. We need to do some more calculation there. But that's not the point. That what we are trying to do is, okay, so we are able to calculate, we are able to come to a calculation of age by calculating the difference between today and birth date, and what we are able to do, we are able to calculate the age of the contact here. See, that's a regular formula field on the contact object. Now, what I wanted to do is, so, account is the parent, right? I want a field, okay? I want a field on the contact that displays me, let's say, account industry. What is the account industry? Okay? So I just want a field on the contact that displays the industry of the account.
That could be possible.
So how would we do that?
Another field and brings down the list of industries that the contact is related to. Does that sound right?
Sorry, can you come again, Raman?
So we could have another field under the details, like the contact, that the contact
Uh-huh.
is related to is related to other industries, like a list
Okay.
down field.
Okay. So on the contact object, I'm going to click new, click formula, click next. I'll
Accounts.
I'll just say industry. I mean, I can label the name whatever I want,
Yeah.
and then I'll just choose text. Click next. Okay. And then what I want to do is, you see here, account. Like before I was calculating the age, I was just doing today minus birth date. Like, today minus birth date. But now here I'm just doing, you see a pipe symbol here, because account is the parent of the contact. You see a pipe symbol for account. You click that, and then you go to account industry. Where is the industry?
Industry up there.
Oh, did I miss it?
You're looking for industry, right?
Yes.
Go down. Right there.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Okay. You see? So for standard object, you see, I'm just using account dot industry. So what does that mean? So account is the parent, right? Go to the parent object and get the industry value and print it. Okay. Now in the previous example I showed you, we had like this, account, like in the previous example I showed you, we had _r dot, right? So because it's a custom object, we use this _r notation. For standard objects, we don't use this _r notation. Okay? So it's, again, we are not doing anything. Here, this is automatically generated for us by Salesforce. But like, you see, if I click here, you see the account, and then you see the industry. I'm just inserting. It's automatically creating account dot industry. So on the contact, I'm creating a field. Okay, because industry is a pick list value, you know what we need to do? Text of account dot industry. Just next, and save. So, yeah, now if I go to this Jane Doe, refresh it, and go to the details, you see, industry is being populated as transportation. And you see, there is no, for age and industry, there is no pencil symbol here, because these are read-only fields that are available in detail mode, and these are formula fields. You see, that's why you don't see any pencil symbol. Now, where are we getting this transportation from? We are getting this value called transportation from the, like, I'm going to go to enterprise enter. We are getting it from
parent table.
The parent record. Okay, we are getting it from the parent table. So now if I just change it to like up, I just change the industry, go back here.
Yeah,
refresh the screen. It's automatically, it would be changed to, you see, apparel. So it is nothing but, see, there is no difference. It's the same formula logic, but the concept is cross-object formula. Cross-object formula is nothing but we will be able to travel to a different, we will be able to travel to the parent object and get the value. Okay? If at all we want to, in the formula logic, not only in formula fields. Remember, we spoke about it. We have declarative logic, formula logic, and process logic. Right? In the formula logic, wherever we want to do anything with respect to cross object, we can absolutely do that. Okay, using this cross object notation. Okay, when we are using custom object, we use double underscore R notation. If we are using standard object, it's just a dot notation. Okay. Now tell me this one. Can I write a formula on the account object and get the value? Like right now, you see, we are writing a formula on the contact object and trying to get the industry value of the account. Now, can I write a formula field on the account object? Okay. Can I write a formula here on the account object and grab the value from the contact? Can we do that? So, just to be clear, account is the parent and contact is the child. We were able to write a formula on the contact to be able to grab or to be able to, access the parent field values. Now, in the same way, is it possible for us to write a formula or something on the parent object and grab the child object values?
On the parent table, parent field, you're saying?
Yeah, so let's say,
Accounts, right?
On account. I want to create a field on account and try to grab a value of the contact. Would we be able to do that?
I think, yeah, if there's a condition.
Yeah, without any conditions, just straightforward. In this exact scenario, just like I wrote a formula on the contact. So, I wrote a simple formula on the contact to say, hey, grab me the value of the accounts industry, and I was able to do that. Now, on contact, okay, I have field on contact. What is the field on contact? On contact, I have lots of fields, right? For example, on contact, let's say I go to a contact here, John Doe as the contact, okay? So this is the contact record. On the contact record, I have a field called title, okay, sales VP, title. So can I write a formula on the account like here? Can I create a formula called title, contact title, and populate the title here, populate the title of this one, like sales VP or whatever it is. Can I do that?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Okay, that's good. No, we cannot. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a simple thing. So let's say, take example of our parents, take example of my dad. Me and my dad has two kids, me and my elder sister. Okay? So let's say somebody asks me, what's your dad's name? I'll just say simply, this is my dad's name. Somebody asks the same question to my sister. Hey, what's your dad's name? She will say the same thing. Okay? Now, the reverse way around. Somebody asked my dad, hey, what's your kid's name? Like just one kid name, because we are only creating one field, right? Somebody asked my dad, what's your kid's name? What would my dad's answer be? Can he give a definite answer? No, right? He has to ask, hey, which kid are you referring to? Like, unless he asks that question, he will not be able to answer it, right? Whereas, if a similar question was asked to the children, we were able to answer it, like, in the same way, you see, context. Yeah, we cannot, Salesforce does not give that ability, okay? So that means from child, you can travel to the parent, okay? In the same example, so what are we doing? Account is the parent and contact are the children record, right? Because all the children record have a common parent. If you notice, like, we have two contacts, John Doe, Jane Doe, and we can add 100 more contacts to that enterprise account. So what's happening? All these 100 contacts have a common parent. So if you're writing a formula field on the contact and trying to obtain the value of the parent, yeah, of course, why not? Because all the all the children records have a common parent, right? Because the lookup field is populated with the account name enterprise account. It's a common parent. So you will be able to grab the value. Whereas if you're trying to write a formula on the parent and try to grab, like, my question was, can we add a field on the account called title and populate it with contacts title? The immediate question should be, which contacts title, right? There is John Doe and Jane Doe. John Doe has a title of Sales Vice President and Jane Doe has the title of CEO. Which title should I populate there? You cannot, right? You cannot. If you have like 200, 300 records, like one parent can have many children records. So which one would you find out? See, that's the basic principle of a formula logic, okay? So you will always be able to travel from child to parent. You see here, from here, like, from the child record, you can always travel to the parent because, you see, all the children record have a common account name. This is the parent record. So from here, you can always travel to the parent. You can look up to the parent. The reason why it's called lookup relationship or massive, like you can look up to the parent and grab some values from there. Like, grab some values and access them and print it. Whereas if you go to the parent record, okay, you're seeing two, one is sales VP and one is CEO. What I'm asking was, hey, can I add a field here called title, like here, called title, and be able to populate? Now, the immediate question should be, hey, it has two contacts, and you can add so many more. Which contacts title should I populate? Okay, so that's why the _R notation, or the traveling, you can only travel from child to parent, but you cannot travel from parent to child. Is that clear? Does it make sense?
Yes, it does. Yes.
Okay. Now, can I? So that's the example. So I've seen many people, because I work with junior developers, I work with devs every day. Like, I speak with so many people. There are so many people who are confused with this concept. When they're writing queries or when they're writing formula fields, they always, usually they come to me and say, hey, I'm trying to access this from here. And I have to use the same example that I gave you. Hey, you have how many kids, how many siblings you have? They will say it. Then I'll ask, hey, if I ask your dad, what's the name of your kid? Will your dad be able to answer it? No. If I ask you the same thing, or if I ask your sibling the same thing, will you be able to answer it? Yes. So that's why from the child, you always have a common answer. You always have a definite answer that you are able to get. But from the parent, you are unable to get. Okay. That's why we call parent-child relationship. We are unable to get. So that's the cross-object formulas. You can always travel from child object to parent, but you cannot travel from parent object to child. Okay. Now, but here is what we can do. Let's say if somebody asks my dad some simple questions like, hey, how many kids you got? Will he be able to answer it?
Yes.
He will be able to, right? Yes. He'll say, yeah, I got 2 kids. If somebody asks, what is the age of your elder kid? Those are not specific. They're asking some general questions that can be answered, like, hey, how many kids you have? Yes, he'll be able to say 2. What is the age of your elder kid? Yeah, probably 31 or 34, whatever it is. He'll be able to tell that. So, or what is the age of your younger kid? So, some general questions that are being asked, those questions are nothing but, like, say in Salesforce, we have a feature called roll-up summaries. Okay, so roll-up summary is a feature that helps you to write, like, we can create roll-up summary fields on parent. The name itself is roll-up, right? So we are rolling up the child records onto the parent. Okay, so there is a difference. Cross-object formula, yeah, from child you are able to go to the parent and get an exact value. What is a roll-up summary field? A roll-up summary field is nothing but you are able to calculate some basic functions like count, sum, minimum, and maximum. Okay? So things like, hey, can you tell me the count of the age of both of your children? like, I mean, count. The count is simple. Can you tell me how many kids you got? Yeah, two. What are the, if you add their ages, how much it would be? Yeah, 65 or 60, whatever it is. And then if you say, what is the age of your elder kid? What is the age of your younger kid? So these are what you call, these things are not telling exactly what it is. They are giving some statistics. So some basic calculation like count, sum, minimum, maximum. Okay. So there are things like count, sum, minimum, and maximum that can be calculated, and that feature is called roll-up summary feature. Now, the roll-up summary feature, remember, Salesforce gives you master detail and lookup relationship, right? So roll-up summary feature is available only in master detail relationship. So if two objects are related through master detail relationship, you will be able to write the roll-up summary field on the parent record. Okay, let's check that out. Okay, I'll go back to our conference management app. Okay. So for example, this session, right? So on the session, I want to know how many speakers are speaking at this session. I just want to get a count of how many speakers. See, if I want to get if I am on the session speaker object, okay, if I'm on the session speaker object and I want to access, the session name or something, yes, I can create a formula on the session speaker and be able to access. But now I'm on the parent record, like, I'm on the session record, which is the parent record. And for this parent record, session speaker is the child object. All I want to know is how many speakers are speaking for this session. Okay. So test for workbench 2 is the session. There is a level. There is a level. Okay. And I just want to know how many people are going to speak at this session. Okay. It's a simple calculation. So what I'll do is I'll just go to setup, object manager. See, session, fields and relationships, new. You see, roll-up summary. If you notice this roll-up summary field, if it is not a parent object in a master detail relationship, this field will be disabled. Salesforce even won't let you, what you call, add this field. Okay, so this field will be disabled because session is the parent object, that too in a master detail relationship. Session is a parent object of session speaker in a master detail relationship. Okay, now in the example of our student course registration, right? So for a course, like, for a course like BUS 501, you just want to know the count of people who have registered for that course. A good example will be for on the course object, like in the student course registration example, you can even practice this. On the course object, you just want to know how many students registered for that course. Okay, because course is a parent, using master detail, what you can do is you can create a roll-up summary field on the course object and just do a count of the course registrations. Okay, so that will, like, the roll-up summary, it's clearly telling that, like, rolling up from child on to parent. Okay, so I'll just say number of speakers. You see, the summarized object is session speaker. All I'm doing is count. Okay, all records should be, I mean, we can add some criteria as well, but I'm just doing a count. Okay, so now if I go back to our session and just refresh it, you see number of speakers, it is giving me as 1. Okay, if I add another session speaker record, If I refresh this, it is saying number of speakers to be 2. So what we are doing, we are able to, like, we are able to create a read-only formula field on the parent, but instead of grabbing a specific value, we are doing some basic calculation like count minimum, maximum, like count sum, minimum, and maximum. So these are the 4 functions that are available in a roll-up summary field, so which we will be able to calculate. Okay, so this is available on parent records. Okay, this roll-up summary feature is available on parent records, and from, like, we will be able to perform some basic calculations onto the parent depending on the child. Okay, so two important concepts, like, overall I just want to say 2 important concepts. One, so first concept is formula field. What is a formula field? It's a read-only field, and it's a read-only field that references other fields. Okay, so like end time, age. So you are calculating, like, let's say you have a field called first name and last name. You have 2 different text fields called first name and last name, but your users are saying, okay, we will enter the first name and last name, but for my convenience, I want to just see a field called full name. So what would you do? You will write a formula, and in the formula, you just concatenate first name and last name. So what happens? The full name will be displayed. So that's a formula field. Good. But now, there is a concept called cross-object formula. What is cross-object? We have object relationships, right? Because we have object relationships, we will be able to, okay, from a child object, we will be able to travel to the parent object, okay? From a child object, we will be able to travel to the parent object, grab the value from the parent object, and, use it. Now, are we, like, do we do anything? We just go to the formula field, click insert, and because there is a relationship field, you will see a pipe symbol, and from there you will be able to access anything. So this is a cross-object formula. So cross-object formulas, of course, you will always be able to travel from child to parent. Okay, if you are writing a query on the child object, or if you are writing, a formula logic on the child object, you can always grab the value from the parent, because the child will always have, like, that parent record. You will be able to use _R notation or dot notation to be able to access them. Now, from the parent, we cannot use the regular formula logic. We cannot use the regular formula logic to be able to print any value from the parent onto the child. So, sorry. Yeah. Sorry, the other way around. Like, if you are writing a formula field on the parent, you will not be able to print any value from child, because a single parent record can have multiple child records. Because a parent record can have multiple child records, it is virtually, it's impossible for us to be able to know which record we are referring to. Okay, so that's why, in the cross-object formulas, we can never write a cross-object formula from the parent onto child. So even if you want to write, you don't even have to get confused. If you are trying to write a formula field on account, and trying to access contact, Salesforce will not even show you the option there. Like, if you go to account and if you're trying to create a formula field, if you click on insert field where we do, you will not even be able to see that, like, contact, because it's not possible. The relationship doesn't allow us that. Whereas now there is a special feature in master detail relationships only. This is not available in lookup relationships. In master detail relationships only, on the parent record, you can create something called roll-up summary field. The roll-up summary field name itself is roll-up. It rolls up the child record. So the roll-up summary field, what it does is, it does some basic calculations like count, sum, minimum, and maximum, and we can print those on the parent record. Okay, and this is available only in master detail relationship, not lookup relationship. Okay, so if we try to summarize the differences between master detail and lookup so far, it would be like, first thing would be, in master detail relationship, if you delete the parent record, the child record gets deleted. Whereas in lookup relationship, that does not happen. Good, first point. The second point is, in master detail relationship, the ownership of the child record is always controlled by the parent. Okay? The child record will not have an owner, and the ownership of the child record is always controlled by the parent. Whereas in lookup relationship, both records will have their own owners, and there is nothing like what you call controlling or anything like that. Now, in master detail relationship, we can create roll-up summary fields, okay, that can calculate the count, minimum, maximum, and sum of the child records. Whereas in lookup relationship, the feature roll-up summary is not available. Okay, so there are three things that we have. So, any questions on this?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay. So can I ask one question? If I want to make a field required, so far within whatever you have learned, okay, if I want to make a field required, how would you do that? Like there is a requirement, I want to make a field required. Tell me two ways how you can make a field required so far within the concept that you have learned.
While creating that field, we can make it required. That's one way.
Okay, good. While creating the field itself, you'll mark it as required. Good. That's one way. Awesome. What's the second way?
Page layout also we can make it either.
Good, but we didn't learn about page layout. So yes, we can do it on the page layout. That's good. But so far we didn't cover the topic of page layout. But yes, that's one option. There is another option. What is one other way how we can make a field required?
I mean, if we establish any relationship.
Awesome. If we have so in a master detail relationship, you are saying the parent record is mandatory, like the lookup field is mandatory. It's a good, but just because we want to make a field required, we won't create master detail.
Yeah.
But that's a good point. But that's absolutely a good point. Okay. Can we write a validation rule and make a field required?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I was looking for. So you can just write a validation rule and say, hey, if this field is blank, throw an error message. We can do that, right? So, I was just looking for two answers. One is we can, while creating the object field itself, we can mark a field as required, and we can also use a validation rule to make a field required. But the point that you mentioned about page layout is good. But since we didn't cover the topic yet, I wasn't looking for that. But that's a good one too. Okay. Now, in the last 2-3 minutes of today's session, I just wanted to talk something about Trailhead. Okay. So I think Salesforce has something called, if you just Google Salesforce Trailhead. Okay, you can Google something called Salesforce Trailhead. So, or you can go to just trailhead.salesforce.com. You can log in. When you log in, it would ask, you can use the same credentials that you have given for your personal org, and it will tie it up. Okay. The good thing about this Salesforce Trailhead is, we have 455 badges. That means Salesforce has 455 modules that are here. For example, let's say we go to modules, okay? And if you say you are trying to become an admin for now, okay? And then you can choose like all the options that you have. And then, like there are so many modules that you have that you can that you can prepare. So when I say prepare, what happens is Salesforce gives, for example, accounts and contacts. You want to learn about accounts and contacts. It will tell you what an account is, what is a business account, what is a personal account, what are business contacts. So they will give some examples. And one other thing is they will give you a challenge. Okay. So when you do this challenge, they will ask you to do this challenge in the org that we are practicing. When you log in, right? When you are logging in, you are already tying one of your Salesforce credentials there. And when you do a challenge and when you click check my challenge, it would check the challenge and it would make sure whether you did it right or wrong. If you do it right, it would give you a badge. Okay, so these badges, you can add it to LinkedIn, you can add it anywhere, these badges. Like you can, you can start preparing the trailheads. Okay, so one of the things that I want you guys to do is like look the trails for look at the modules for I want to say data modeling. So there is a module called data modeling. Okay, I'll just paste this URL here. So there is a data modeling trail, and then there is a formulas and validations. Okay, there is this module, and there are other simple modules like accounts and contacts and CRM. So those basic, those modules you can do it. But for now, again, I just don't want you to overwhelm with so many modules. If you can do, like I chatted you 2 modules. So if you can do those modules, that'd be great because it covers the same topics that we covered, like, so far whatever we covered, but maybe they might be using different examples. Okay. So you can choose those modules, you can read them, and of course, see, this Trailhead is one awesome place where you have so many modules. Okay, so you have around 455 badges. That means I think I have so far 55 badges or so. I mean, I've been lazy these days and I'm not doing any of these more badges. But there are people who have 400 and there are people who have completed all 455 badges as well. There are so many people, not few. There are so many people who have completed all 400 badges as well. Okay. Now, the thing with Trailhead is it's a bit boring when you're, reading through it. The content seems to be boring, just like my classes. If you're hearing to a recording, it's be very boring. So, but let's not overwhelm with ourselves because this has so many more topics, like way more than the topics that are actually required to perform our job. Okay, so start looking into it. Start working whenever you're free. Just go play around. Choose a random module because anything that you do, any topic that you read, might not go waste. It's gonna be always be useful. Okay, so first of all, start with Trailhead, get some badges. The thing is, it's a good thing is, let's say if you have 50, 60 badges, it doesn't matter which topics they are. Like, you can choose the basic topics like CRM for lightning experience. This is a very basic topic. Like, what is a CRM? What is Salesforce? It would have some of those topics. What is multi-tenancy and all. And then, how do you navigate the setup? Like very few things like that, which we have already covered. But, no matter whatever topic that you take, but if you have, by the time you go into the marketing, if you have at least 40, 50 badges, it's a good ad in the in the what you call in the resume. You have 50 or 60 Trailhead badges, and you can put that in your LinkedIn as well. So you can mention that in your resume. Okay, so that I know there are a lot of people, but at least it's better than people who don't have any badges and better than people who don't have Trailhead. Okay, and whenever you're if you have an iPad and if you have some internet connection, just explore Trailhead. It renders pretty well in iPad too. I don't have the badges, but sometimes what I do is I travel in a subway. So when I'm traveling in a subway, if there is a new topic that came up, all I do is in my phone, I just open and read the topic. If I might not get the ability to do get a badge because I'm not actually doing it, but at least I read the topic. But I want you guys to, even if you do like 10 badges or 20 badges, I want you guys to practice it hands-on, because that would be the only way you will be able to get something. Okay, but if you are free, or if you're traveling somewhere, just open Trailhead and navigate through some of the topics. Any topic, any point that you read is never gonna go waste. Okay, and the other goal that we do is we'll write at least 2 certifications. Like I wanted to write 3. I want you guys to write at least 3. Platform Developer 1, App Builder, and Salesforce Admin. But at least we'll start with 2. So the thing is, if we have 2 certifications along with 50 or 60 badges, we will be in a good position. Like when we send our resume, at least somebody looking at the resume will be like, oh yeah, these people know something, rather than nothing. Okay, because see, sometimes I hire people for the company that I work for. I know I have few people who report to me. So when I hire, when I'm hiring people, this is my recent experience. I wanted a resource, and my manager, I asked my manager, and he asked me to hire somebody. So what, I was looking at the resumes. I got a lot of resumes with the same boring ones, which says, I have these many years, these like 4 or 5 pages long. All the resumes look the exact same. But at least one of the resume said that person have like 3 certifications with 100 Trailhead badges. So again, unless I speak to the person, I might not know who is good, who is bad, whose talent is what. But we should behave in a way how the market is. Now, I've been given like 7 or 8 resumes. I cannot interview all 7 or 8 people. I can only interview, first start with 1 or 2 people, and if I like one of them, if I feel among those 1 or 2 people, if I feel like, even though they are not extraordinary, if I feel like they'll do the job, what they are supposed to do, I'll just go ahead and hire them. I'll not waste time in interviewing all those people. Now, when the vendor sent me like 8 resumes probably. Among the 8, how would I pick? I want to speak to these 2 people. Okay, so I look at the resume. Most probably 99% of the resumes are all the same in the market. So just because of the resume with the technical experience and all, I wasn't able to figure out whom to talk to. Okay, now I got one resume where, like I mentioned, 100 Trailhead badges and couple certificates. Then I thought, you know what? At least, there might be other people who are extraordinarily talented, and I might have missed them in my 8 resumes. But at least I just wanted to talk to this person first, because I saw those. You know what? This person is putting some effort in Salesforce. Let me talk to him and see. And when I spoke with him, he was able to, answer the questions that I asked. Even though they are not extraordinary, but, I felt like he will be able to do the job. And, with the first interview itself, I hired. I did not go looking for, can I find a better candidate or not, because I felt, okay, he'll be able to deliver me one. Now, that's the market. That's how most market works, because, people, managers are, people who are recruiting, they will be overwhelmed with the number of resumes. And if you notice, every resume looks exactly the same. So it's hard to differentiate. It's hard to even get a call. So in order for that, we need to make the resume and make some credentials in such a way that the managers will be like, you know what, let me give a chance. It's not like, see, I'm not saying that's perfect. I'm within the 8 resumes, I might have missed 3 extraordinary people, like 3 super intelligent, super awesome people. I might have, I don't know. But, that's how it works. Like that's how really it works. I don't want, like, if I'm hiring a car driver, I don't care if I don't need a Michael Schumacher, or, I don't need anybody like an F1 race driver. As long as they're able to drive my car, drive me around safely, I'll just hire them. So if I get the resumes, if I have people who are standing in the interview for the driver, if the first person I pick, if I feel they are able to do it, I'll just hire them, even though I know after 5 or 6 people, there is an F1 race car driver that's waiting. Usually people don't care about it as long as they know they are going to job done. So now, think in those lines. How would you make sure? See, the knowledge, you might be prepared, you might get trained 100 times, you might get practice for 2 years and 3 years. Does it matter at the end of the day? No, it really doesn't matter, because the real experience that you get would be like, when you're actually working, nothing can replace real time. That's number one. Number two, how do you get the real time? How do you get to that? I mean, we have to find a job. Now, how do you find a job? Finding a job means you need to prepare your resume, which is a little bit unique from others, and you need to have those credentials. Okay, so what would the credentials do? The credentials are not tough to earn. Getting 50 Trailhead badges is really not hard. If you really feel, if you're determined, now the time is 11:30 EST. If you sit at 12 o'clock and if you put a target like I have to do 50, by the time evening 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, you will have 50 badges. Because I'm not saying do the tough topics or easy topics. All I'm doing is a count. How can I get 50? Just do the easy ones. Whatever ones that you feel, by evening 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, you will have 50 badges. So it's really not that hard. But if you have those 50, at least you put in some effort to it. So way better than you're overcoming a lot of people. You're a forerunner than way so many people that you at least put in that 5 or 6 hours of effort than other people. So you are a little bit advanced in getting that job. Now, when you are adding those credits to the resume, automatically your resume stands out a little bit. Again, you have to do the interview and all that, but at least you get that call first. So once you get that call, I mean, you need that opportunity, right? At least in order to test it out. So that's why, look into Salesforce certifications as well. Go to certifications.salesforce.com. There is a website called certifications.salesforce.com. Just check out what kind of certifications are there, what kind of topics are there, things like that. And Trailhead is in your hands. It's nobody have to tell you anything. The Trailhead, you have a developer org, you can connect it, you can do whatever modules that you want, and it's absolutely in your hands. Okay, so if you do 60, 70 badges, like irrespective of the topic, you are way more far better than lot of people who are already doing a Salesforce job. I mean, I have 50. I used to do a lot in the initial days when Trailhead came, but yeah, I have to find time. I'm thinking next weekend is my time. Next weekend is my time where I want to spend 2 whole days just doing Trailhead modules, nothing else, and I wanted to get my count up to like 100 or 110. I'm just tired of. I'm just jealous of people posting their 400 badges or 200 badges in LinkedIn. I'm so jealous that I want to be there too. So probably I'll spend one weekend just doing the whole Trailhead thing and doing nothing. But it's in your hands now. You can do Trailhead modules and improve the chances of getting into that market. Okay, and we'll talk about certifications later. We'll see after a few more classes. We might need 7 or 8 more classes to at least start preparing for the admin and probably the app builder certification. So once we get to that 7 or 8 classes, we should be able to do that. Okay. Any questions, anybody? All right. Thank you, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully you do at least few badges by then. Okay. I'll see you guys tomorrow.